Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to the Sports Corner Live for what is a Group B match between Belgium and Russia on what has been a very hard day in football. I don't think anybody expected what happened in the game earlier on today, and I'm very surprised, if I'm being honest with you, that this game is even going ahead. I'm surprised at the other game that's going ahead, if I'm frankly honest with you, and credit to the players, which of course we will talk about in a moment's time, on what is an event in football that tends to bring everybody together. And with what's happened with Eriksen, there is absolutely no doubt it has brought everybody together, and the thoughts and prayers, of course, of everybody in the world for Christian Eriksen. He will hear, and hopefully, of course, he has a very quick and speedy recovery. And of course, some of you will have been there earlier on for that stream, which we did for that match, Finland v Denmark. We have deleted the stream, of course. We don't want to keep it up because of what happened with that game specifically. But he's going ahead right now with the second half. Both teams decided, and credit to both teams, to decide to go back out onto the pitch and play out the rest of this game in respect of Eriksen, because I think it's quite a shocking thing that's happened, and it's one of the worst things I think I've ever seen. I honestly, it's hard to even think about it, because it's something where I think we all appreciate that, where we are. We should all appreciate our lives and our loved ones, because things like that can happen, and I'm glad he's okay. And of course, I don't want to sit here and for the whole 2 hours of this stream focus it around that event, but it's very, very hard in this situation to really focus on these matches tonight because of what's happened. But as I said, if you are basically unaware, Christian Eriksen, I believe, of course, he passed out pretty much while the game was going on. He's okay now. He's stable, which is good to see. And credit, as you guys have said in the chat, Ben Lawson saying, well done to all the medics and even the Denmark players making sure we didn't see anything. And credit to them, because I know, of course, as Chris has put in the chat, the BBC are disgraced for not cutting the cameras off. It's not them who can decide when the cameras are cut off. It is pretty much a main broadcaster, I think someone like UEFA, who will just distribute the coverage out to all the channels, so they don't get to choose when to cut it off. So it's one of those, at the end of the day, realistically speaking, where I just, it's hard. And we have to appreciate in life that, these things can happen, but life can be so short. And thankfully, the brilliant news is Eriksen is okay, and that's the most important news. Eriksen's okay, he's stable, and if there's any more updates as the night comes in, I'll try and keep you guys updated as much as I possibly can. But from all I know, of course, is that he's stable, he's all right. He's been speaking to his family, which is fantastic to hear, because, of course, it's a situation that I don't think any of us expected to happen. But obviously, it is going to be a main talking point about tonight. I know some people will come in the chat and say it is disrespectful to stream with what's happened. And I understand why people will say it's disrespectful and they don't think it's right to stream and we shouldn't have covered this game. But at the end of the day, and this isn't without it sounding harsh, the Dane and the Finnish players, they wanted the show to go on. They wanted to play the match out in respect. UEFA have said tonight that Belgium-Russia is taking place still, which kicks off in about under 10 minutes' time. So in respect, of course, I personally think, it's right to stream. It's right to enjoy the football that we've got and to respect the fact that Eriksen has gone through a hell of a lot today. And hopefully, as I said, that he's all right as things go on. Now, as I said, second half of that Denmark-Finnish game's going on. I will keep you up to date with the scoreline of that match. I don't personally think, and I think we all could agree, it doesn't really mean anything in the respect of what's happened today. But as Wayne has said in the chat, Christian Eriksen, thoughts and prayers to him. And of course, for everybody in the stream, a big thank you to all of you guys that have decided to join us for this match today. Because, as I said, we've got Belgium-Russia coming up in just a few moments' time. We will go through the lineups of that game in a few minutes. But let's, of course, take a look back at some of the games that we've had today. We started off the afternoon, of course, with Wales taking on Switzerland. That game was a fantastic match to watch. Really enjoyable second half, in which the game ended 1-1. Goals in that game from Kiefer Moore as well as a goal in the game from Breel Donald Embolo, who did go on to get the man of the match. We know, of course, we've been speaking about Denmark-Finland. As we have just said, there has been a goal in that game. Piampolo has just put the ball in the back of the net. It is 1-0 to Finland. Of course, one of those situations today where it's just a situation where I think the goal is overmarred by everything that's gone on, but Finland have just taken the lead with half an hour to go with that game, so it's 1-0 in that match. Of course, everything being quite respectful there, so 1-0 to Finland in that game. But then, of course, we have got the game between Belgium and Russia, which I am excited for this game, really excited for it. I think for me today, as I said before, it is the match, in my personal opinion, of the day. These two teams have had a lot of experience over the last few months and years of getting into good kind of back ends of tournaments. We know Russia at the 2018 World Cup, they made the quarter-finals before being knocked out by Croatia. As for Belgium, they've got a very good pedigree of going on pretty good runs in competitions. We know that they made the semi-finals of the previous Euros before being knocked out. Quarter-finals before being knocked out by Wales. We know as well that they've had good runs in the past in the World Cups as well. And I think that they are going to have a lot of pressure on them today to go out there and get a result. Of course, I know in terms of the actual group itself, no matter what result is in any of these two games today, it's completely overmarred by what's happened. But at the same time, as Roberto Martinez said, they've got a job to do. They've got to go out there. They will play with respect. And ultimately, I hope that we do get a very good game of football, because these are two really good attacking sides that have a lot of attacking prowess about them. And also, I think it's one of those games as well that we will be intrigued to see if we do get a fair few goals. Of course, Romelu Lukaku is one of the players that is playing today, and hopefully we do get a good match overall. Carl's in the building. How you all doing? Hope you're all good, mate. He says, depending on if they cut to the Belgium-Russia match, maybe second half, I'll be watching the remainder of the Denmark-Finland game, which is completely understandable with everything that's gone on in that game. And then, as you guys did say in the chat, Finland 1-0. Good finish, good header, from Piampolo. But as I said, at the end of the day, I don't think that really should matter. But the game's going ahead, and credit to the players, because at the end of the day, they could have easily not played the match today, and I would have respected their opinions to not do so, as I think everybody would. But they've gone out there literally about an hour and a half after what's happened, gone to play the game. But as I said, we move on to Belgium against Russia. Let's take a look at the lineups of these two sides before we go into the match. Of course, Russia going on with the national anthem right now. We start off with the Belgium team. Belgium today with a 3-4-3 formation. Of course, playing free at the back for quite a long time now, Belgium, in their history under Roberto Martinez. Thibaut Courtois is in goal, back three of Toby Alderweireld and Jan Vertonghen. They're matched up this time by Diedrich Beata, which is very interesting, because I'm very annoyed. I had Jason Denayer captained, I think, for this game, and he's not even playing, so that's great. Midfield four, Thorgan Hazard is on the left-hand side. He's alongside Timothy Castagna on the right-hand side. Eden Hazard, of course, his brother, Thorgan, is on the bench, so we will not be seeing him until a little bit later on in this game. Yuri Tielemans, Leicester City FA Cup winner, is in midfield alongside Wolves midfielder Leander Dendoncker. And then up top, it is a really, really good front three. Dries Mertens on the left-hand side hasn't really played a great deal of football this year, was out injured for large parts at Napoli, but at the back end of his season, he did get back into the team. Yannick Carrasco on the right-hand side, he had a brilliant season back at Atletico Madrid after a few years in China. And then arguably the most informed player, besides Kevin De Bruyne, who's not in the team today, Romelu Lukaku. Of course, it's going to be quite hard for him, of course, to focus on everything that's gone on today, but he is up top for Belgium, and of course he's going to be a real danger in the side. As we said before, when we look at the bench, you can see Eden Hazard is on the bench today. He is on the bench alongside a whole host of recognisable Premier League players, including the likes of Christian Benteke, Michy Batshuayi, and Brighton's Leandro Trossard. And then, of course, we move to the away side. The Russian team still managed by the same manager which managed them at the World Cup in 2018. It's a 4-2-3-1 today, and a very different side under Stanislav Cherchesov. Anton Shunin is in goal. That's right. No more of Akinfeev in goal. He retired from international duty, so Akinfeev isn't there anymore. But the back four stays pretty much similar to the one that was at the World Cup. Yuri Zirkov, that's right, former Chelsea man. He is in the left-back position. And on the right-hand side is the Brazilian-born Mario Fernandes, who changed his nationality to Russian a few years ago. Georgi Zikia is alongside Andrei Semenov as the two centre-backs. Both of those play in the Russian league. The midfield two, Dmitry Baranov of Lokomotiv Moscow. He's alongside Magomed Ozdoev. And the attacking midfielder is Alexander Golovin, who, of course, you will remember had a absolutely stellar 2018 World Cup, which got him a move to AS Monaco a few years ago. Daler Kuziaev is the left midfielder, with Roman Zobnin of Spartak Moscow on the right-hand side. And then one of the big players for Russia over the last few years, Artem Zhuba, is up top. He has a fantastic pedigree of scoring goals in competitions for Russia. And then on the bench, you can see they've got Maranchuk of Atalanta, Zemeletdinov, who is also another player who has played in Russia, and then a few other players as well that maybe not so recognisable to the casual. As we do get underway with the match, Belgium 0, Russia 0. Of course, there is going to be a lot of talk about everything that is going on with the other game today between Denmark and Finland, which we know, of course, is 1-0 to Finland in that game. I will get the actual scoreboard up on the screen for you guys in a moment, which it is on your screen. Luckily today, again, I am able to watch this game without the issues of having any lag or being behind, so don't worry, you won't spoil anything in the chat because I am pretty much on par with all of you guys. But Chris, I know you said in the chat, and I'll go through all of your comments now. Yeah, that was the right thing to ban the guy. I know at the end of the day it's an understandable opinion, but at the same time, I don't think you should come in and say stuff like that. I think it's a little bit disrespectful within himself to come in and say that where it disrespects him. But yeah, thank you for that, Chris, because I noticed as you banned him in the chat, and I think that was the right thing to do. Do put your predictions in the chat for this game. I'm going to predict Belgium win this 3-1. I think it should be a game full of goals, but of course, as we know with what's happened today, I wonder if that may be in the minds of some of the players, which, as we know, is very understandable with what's happened over the last few hours. So your predictions in the chat. Chris has gone for 1-0 Belgium, his prediction. Dangerous game for Belgium, which I do agree with you. I think this is probably the hardest game in the group for Belgium, or the second hardest. I think you've got to look and say, a team like Denmark, for example, are a very, very good side, a very, very good organised team with lots of quality players on the pitch. But Russia as well. We don't really know much about Russia since the World Cup. Haven't really been in many of the big games of the last few months. Haven't really seen them in the Nations League either, so we don't really know a great deal about them to know what they're going to do in this tournament. And we know, of course, of the World Cup. We spoke about it earlier on with the game we were watching earlier with the Welsh game. That, that was a tournament where they were there in Russia with their own fans. So that could have helped them out, as we've seen in the past with other teams being host nations. They tend to do a little bit better than they usually would because of the crowds. But Russia, I think, are a team that shouldn't fear Belgium. And they shouldn't fear the likes of Denmark and Finland. And if they do go out there and get themselves some good results on the board in this early section of the group stage, then we might maybe be seeing Russia again in the knockout stages, where there is a potential chance they could match up again against Spain, which we know what happened the last time they faced off against each other in Spain. It was the penalty shootout victory in what was an absolutely brilliant game, wasn't it, that one? I think Cheryshev scoring a screamer in that one as well, or was that? That might have been the Croatia match, actually, if I'm thinking. As Artem Zhuba's on the ball. Plays it into Alexander Golovin, who tries to feed the ball back into the path of Artem Zhuba, but the pass in the end is just a little bit too heavy from the midfielder. And I think, yeah, Russia don't and shouldn't fear these teams. I think especially today, with this being the first match, it's the opportunity to really sell yourself in the tournament, like Italy did in their first game. They went out there and they showed to everybody, look, we're not here to mess about. We're here to go out there and get ourselves some good results on the board, and ultimately, as well, really show everybody that we're not here to be the whipping boys of the group, as a long ball is whipped up towards Timothy Castagna, but in the end, the other Leicester City midfielder, I was going to say playmaker, he's technically a winger, isn't he, wasn't able to get a touch on the ball, and it goes out of play for a Russian goal kick. Chris saying in stream, can I say it's up to people if they want to stream for their respective channels to call them disrespectful without letting them explain is harsh, and I agree with you on that one, which is why I think it was fair for him to just get banned, because the guy's never been in the stream before anyway, so I couldn't really care less about his opinion. Dad's saying, what's your score prediction for this game? As I said before, I'm going to go 3-1 to Belgium. I think with Belgium, and especially with a lot of the big teams, we've still got pretty much 90% of the big nations still to watch. England we've got tomorrow, we've got France, Germany and Portugal all in the same group on one day. This is a great opportunity tonight for Belgium to go out there and to ultimately show the rest of the world, look, Italy have scored 3 goals in their first game. This is what we can do with the attacking talent that we've got. And of course, we know Kevin De Bruyne is the big player missing from today's game. I don't know if he's going to be back for the second match or not. But all I know for now is he's out of this game today against Russia, which is a little bit of a blow for them. But I also personally think Belgium, even without Kevin De Bruyne, have enough class players to still go out there and at least fight to try and win the European Championships. Carl going in the chat, he thinks it's going to be 5-0 to Belgium. And Daz going 4-0 to Belgium as well. So quite a few big predictions in the chat from you guys in terms of the actual scoreline of this game. And for those of you wondering as well, the score is still 1-0 in that match between Denmark and Finland. As I said before, I will try and keep you up to date with the scoreline of that match as things do continue on. We are around about 20 minutes left of that match, so we will of course see as time goes on what happens there. But Yuri Zirkov today at the back for Russia, and he has got to be one of the oldest players in the tournament, and there's a chance here for Artem Zhuba on the left wing, tries to feed a ball into Golovin, and he's just got themselves a corner here for Russia, and that was a very good opportunity there. And we know Artem Zhuba, a very tall player, 6'5", a very interesting player to watch. He's had quite a interesting career with Russia over the last few years. A few years ago wasn't even in the team because of a few falling outs, I guess you could say, with the previous manager of Russia. But then the manager today brought him back in a few years ago. Played, of course, at I think it was the Confederation Cup, which isn't going on anymore. He played there, played really well. Then, of course, got the call up to the World Cup and had a stellar tournament. But he'll be one of the players on the corner to lob the ball towards, and well, Alexander Golovin with what has got to be one of the worst corners of the tournament so far, completely over the head of every single player in the Russian side and out of play for a throw-in. But as I said before, Stanislav Cherchesov, the Russian manager, has got quite a pedigree of doing brilliant work with the international side. I think he'll be hoping that they can go out there and get themselves a pretty good run at the tournament, and I think they can. I think they have got a very good opportunity of going out there and getting themselves on a good run. But I'm pretty sure we've just had a goal in the other game between Denmark and Finland, and I think Denmark might have just got themselves a penalty from what I've just heard. I don't think so. But yeah, there is a penalty for Denmark in that match, which of course we will see what goes on with that penalty now very quickly. So an opportunity for Denmark from the spot to go out there and get themselves a penalty. Of course, we'll see what happens with that as time does go on. But yeah, Stanislav Cherchesov, I think he'll be hoping roughly, for me, I would say around about quarter-finals for the Russia, or round of 16. I think is a pretty good run for a team of their calibre. I think ultimately, at the end of the day, they are one of those sides where you never really quite know what they're going to do in the tournament. They're one of those teams that haven't really got an expectation from the outside world on what to do and where to finish in these tournaments, which will make them a threat. And I think, as I said, if they can go out there today, play an even game against Belgium, then you never know. Maybe, just maybe, they might be able to go out there and get themselves a very good opportunity of getting a few points on the board. As apparently, I believe Denmark have just missed their penalty, and Hradečky saved it, which is a real shame, of course, for Denmark. But looks like Finland doing all they need to right now to get themselves 3 points on the board. And yeah, as Carlos just said, pen has been saved. Justice for me, so didn't sound like a good penalty from what I just heard. There's going to be a free kick here for Belgium at the halfway line. Yuri Tielemans fouled by Golovin. High boot, just nearly grazing the head of Yuri Tielemans. And our referee today was actually the referee at the Champions League final. He's retiring at the end of the season. So what an opportunity. Is there a mistake here and Lukaku's in? And just like that, Romelu Lukaku opens the scoring in this game between Belgium and Russia. And it's a mistake at the back from the Russians. And the Belgians take the lead. And it's 1-0. And it's that man, Romelu Lukaku, who of course I think today will be the man in the headlines with everything that's gone on with Christian Eriksen. But all that matters is that the ball is in the back of the net. And I think this is going to get checked by VAR to see whether or not this is going to be classed as a goal. Now, it technically comes off the back of a Russian player, so I think this is going to count anyway. But Lukaku, very simple finish. He's inside the box. The ball comes, I think it comes off the back of, I'm pretty sure it's Semenyov. And all Lukaku has to do is turn, put the ball into the bottom right-hand corner. And it is 1-0 to Belgium. Now, it is being checked by VAR to see whether this is going to actually class as a goal. And it is a goal. And just like that, it's 1-0. And out of absolutely nothing, the Belgians take the lead. And I think there, Russia will be a little bit shell-shocked with the fact that they've conceded in this game. A really, really disappointing goal to give away. And as I said, it came off the back of Semenyov. Really, really disappointing. And a player like Romelu Lukaku, you just cannot give him any opportunities on goal because you know 9 times out of 10 he's going to put the ball in the back of the net. And when he's, about 6 or 7 yards out, he's always going to put it in. And just like that, we do have our first goal of this match, 1-0. And I'm not going to lie, I do think this game, if I'm being honest with you, I think there's a lot of goals in this one. I think, considering what you guys have gone for in the chat, there's a lot of you guys that have also gone for pretty similar predictions. You've gone for the 3, 4, 5 goals in this game. And I think that's a credit to both teams. And when you actually look at the records of when they've played each other in the past, you'll be surprised to see that Belgium have actually lost to Russia in their history. They faced off 7 times before, Belgium winning 5 of those with 2 draws. The last match they actually played off against each other, Belgium beat Russia 4-1. You might remember, actually. Both of these sides played against each other twice in Euro 2020 qualifying. And it just seems they love to play against each other because they're playing against each other for the 3rd time in the space of 2 years. And fair play to them. I think it's a very enjoyable game to watch whenever these two sides come up against each other. And as I said, that's a credit to both teams and how they play. But Wayne's put in the chat, I say 3-2 Belgium. And the gentleman who's been naughty in the comment section, do not understand life is more important than a game. And absolutely, I agree with you, Rain. And as I'd said, I don't really want to go on all night about it. It is a major talking point. But I think at the end of the day, the good news is that he's okay. You know, if he wasn't okay and he wasn't stable, these 2 games would have not gone ahead tonight. I could honestly bet you that my bottom dollar that these games would have not gone on tonight if he was in an unstable condition. Or, and I'm glad it isn't, anything worse happened. They wouldn't have played these games tonight. But the fact that we got the news that he's stable, you know, I think a lot of people will have seen the picture. I'm going to stop for a second, though, because Golovin's in here. Here's Golovin trying to go for own goal, but good defending at the back from Toby Alderweireld, and it is going to be a corner for Russia. And a very, very lively start to this game from both sides, really trying to give it their all in this match in the early sections. And I think it is going to be a corner there. And maybe an opportunity here for Russia from the set piece. And we'll talk about what we're saying about a moment after this corner. But 2 defenders are going to come up. Zhikya is one of them. And it will be Golovin who takes the corner. he's actually put a much better ball in this time, and it's nearly a good opportunity. And I thought for a second that Mario Fernandes had got himself a goal, and it was a perfect delivery this time from Golovin, who, let's not forget, about 5 minutes ago put in one of the worst corners I think I've ever seen. But this time it was a much better ball, whipped in towards Mario Fernandes, who got a very good header on the ball, but in the end it was a pretty comfortable save for Courtois, and maybe I over-exaggerated a little bit with the hype. But yeah, back to the point we were saying a moment ago. I think had Eriksen been in a not a stable position, then these games would have not gone ahead tonight, and it's an absolute credit and a detriment to the players that are playing right now in that match between Denmark and Finland. You know, the fact that they have decided to want to continue that game on proves how strong-minded they are. And the scenes we saw were disgusting. I know there was a lot of people out there saying it was disrespectful from the BBC to show everything in the UK. Of course, I don't know about overseas coverage. I would assume it's the same. But at the end of the day, there's nothing they could do about it. And I think whoever was on the cameras tonight and directing the cameras was probably going to get themselves an absolute bollocking tonight, if not worse. But yeah, look. Luke's asked, when does England play first? How are you doing, Luke? Oh, you're good, mate. They play tomorrow, 2 p.m. UK time. We're up against Croatia. We are live with that, of course. There's going to be me, Rowan, and KL for that one. It's probably not going to be a commentary style one. It'll be a little bit more laid back. We'll all just be watching the game, chilling out. But it's going to be a very exciting watch along because it's England playing, our home nation, and it should be a very good one indeed. But that's from 2 p.m. We'll be live around about 10 to 1, quarter to 1. As there's a chance here for Artem Zhuba, who takes a touch, ball taken, and in the end, it's an opportunity from Ozdoev from outside the box that was always going wide of the mark. But a really lively start to this game. I mean, Artem Zhuba, one of those players, has said, very tall, 6'5", an absolute menace in the box. And Belgium here, in this first 15 minutes, although they've got a goal to the name, there's been one or two opportunities in this match where Belgium are going to have to watch out because Russia do look very lively in this game. And they're not afraid to attack as well, which I think is the most important thing. To go out there and try and attack in this match and get themselves a goal and get back into this game. As Luke's predicting the chat, he thinks 2-2 tomorrow. Yeah, I do think that's I think that's an interesting shout, that. I don't think it's going to be as easy as people are making out. I really do think that Croatia are a very good side on the day. I said before when we played them in the semi-finals that it was going to be a very, very tough match with how Croatia had been in the tournament. And I think they'll have a very good run again this year, Croatia. I really do. But there's a chance here for Russia to come forward. Opportunity this time on the left-hand side for Golovin. Tries to play a ball into the box. Tries to get it to Kuzayev, who's playing the attacking midfielder role for now. And it doesn't get to him in the end. Here's Kuzayev into the path of Ozdoev, who's lofted it long to Zobnin. Tries to get a header on the ball. And it will go out of play. I know he stayed in play, actually. Credit to him. And no, the referee actually is... the linesman, sorry, signalled it for a corner. And Russia will get themselves a corner here. And the ball did go out of play in the end. And maybe a little opportunity now for Russia to maybe make something. Oh, no, it's a throw-in. Oh, okay, that's a bit weird. I thought he'd gone out of play. It had, just not as a corner. So throw-in for Russia instead, which will be taken by Mario Fernandes. Ludrovin cross into the box. Doesn't get to anyone, but Zobnin's got the ball back. And this is a little opportunity in the game now for Russia to get a bit of possession on the ball. I think they have marshalled Belgium very well in this first 20 minutes, even though they have conceded. It was just that one mistake, which they'll be very annoyed with themselves that they have conceded. And there's a mistake at the back again now, and there could be an opportunity for Lukaku to pounce. And it's a brilliant run from Lukaku. He takes on his man, and that's even better defending at the back there from Zhikia. But the ball's coming out to the edge of the box, and it was Den Donker who just needed a little bit more composure in that situation. And we could have been sat here saying it was 2-0 to Belgium, but a brilliant, brilliant bit of work from Zhikia, who was able to make up for the defence. And it's just a bouncing ball, which causes Dendoncker a little bit of awkwardness with the shot. But I think all he's got to do there is maybe take a touch or try and drill the shot down low into the corner. And maybe we would have been sat here saying Belgium are 2 to the good after 20 minutes. But again, for Russia, another mistake at the back that has cost them a little bit, or very nearly cost them at the very least. And they just need to make sure in this game that they don't make any more mistakes, because when you've got two wingers in Carrasco and Mertens who have scored so many goals between them in their career and over the last season, you cannot afford to let them go through on goal. And then you could see the pace of Lukaku. You know, Lukaku is one of those players where he might be quite tall and bulky, but he's bloody fast when he's on the ball. And I think at the end of the day, they've just got to make sure here that they don't allow any opportunities for Lukaku on goal, because he can take on any defender on his day. And he's an absolute menace to come up against. And no doubt, I think the likes of Zic here at the back are going to be worrying about coming up against him for the next 70 minutes or so. But just to keep you up to date with the other match going on tonight, of course, if you're not aware, there is one other game going on this evening. After everything that happened in the Denmark-Finland game, there was, of course, a stoppage in play because of Christian Eriksen, who has, of course, been taken to hospital and is in a stable condition. That game has got 5 minutes left of the match. It's still 1-0 to Finland. A goal coming from Hampolo in that game, former Leverkusen man. And there was a penalty as well for Denmark in that match, but it was saved in the end. A very comfortable save by Hradecki, who might be on course here to get Finland their first ever 3 points at the Euros. Of course, it's their first ever campaign in a European Championship. And of course, I know, with everything that's gone on, it's going to overmar the fact that they've got 3 points. But it'll be a very important 3 points for them in terms of the group itself. But 20 minutes on the clock here, 1-0 to Belgium, all from one mistake. I've got to say, apart from the one mistake which allowed the goal, Belgium haven't really done much so far. But here's Mertens on the right wing, trying to get Belgium forward here. Ball lobbed in from Yuri Tielemans towards Lukaku, and in the end his cross is just a little bit too weak, and Russia will be able to clear the ball away. As Lucas said in the chat, Russia could be in trouble if they lose big here. Yeah, I agree with you. I think they don't want to lose big here, but at the same time, as I was saying in the earlier stream, I don't think Russia will be under much pressure to go out there and get a result in this game. You know, they'll know that Belgium will be the expected team to go and win this match. As long as they don't lose by a massive amount, you know, if they were to lose 1-0, 2-0, then I think Russia will be fine with that, because they know that ultimately they weren't expected to go and win. But because of there only being 3 games, they need to make sure the goal difference doesn't get battered, or else, as you said in the chat, Luke, they could find themselves in a really, really tricky position when it comes to getting out of the group stages, especially because they'll be one of the teams more likely to finish in third. As the ball's lofted into the box, it could be a chance, and it was a really good opportunity for Thorgan Hazard, and a brilliant, brilliant save in the end. A good reaction save by the Russian keeper Shunin, who just keeps out Thorgan Hazard. And it was a very, very nervy moment there, where I just thought for a second we were going to get that second goal for Belgium. And another tricky moment in this game, where Russia do not look comfortable at the back, and it's Shunin, who's done really, really well there. Get himself down on the floor, gets his hands out, makes himself big, and a very good save in the end. But I think that maybe that's the thing with this Russian team. They've got a very good attack, but not a strong defence. Of course, missing Igor Akinfeev, who retired from international duty. He was one of the few heroes of that Russia team of a few years ago. Denis Cheryshev as well, another hero from that tournament. That got him a big move to Valencia. He's another one that ultimately hasn't been kicking in his career over the last few years, which is why he's on the bench today. Doesn't play actually for Valencia anymore, and is probably going to leave the club this season and go somewhere else. I would assume back to Russia, as there's a chance here for a ball to be lofted into the box from Yuri Zhirkov. His cross doesn't get to Artem Zhuba in the box in the end, and it's actually Romelu Lukaku who's come back to do a bit of defending here. Ball's been given away though, and it's going to be in the path of Zobnin, the Spartak Moscow midfielder, who's playing out as a wide midfielder in this game. But there's going to be a chance here. Carrasco coming forward. What can he do, Carrasco? Takes on his man, and the ball will go out of play for a corner. And so far in this match, we've had, I believe that'll be 2 corners apiece for each side in this game. And an opportunity maybe for Belgium to get something from a set piece. They've got big players in the box. Alderweireld, Vertonghen, to name the two centre-backs. Lukaku, of course, as well, who can certainly get his head onto the ball. What can they do here? So ball lofted into the box by Carrasco. Good in-swinger towards the path of Diedrich Beata, who doesn't get his head onto the ball. And maybe now an opportunity for a potential counter-attack for Russia here as the ball's lofted into the path of Kuzayev. And there's going to be another head injury here in the game, and both players going down. And I think it's Kuzayev who's gone down, and Castagna as well. And we will have a stoppage in play here for both players to get some treatment with the head injury. Of course, especially with what's happened today, we've got to make sure everybody is okay, and the staff do get out there. And a big, massive, commendation to the treatment and the staff earlier on, of course, in that game, to be out there so quick to get themselves into that position to treat Christian Eriksen is absolutely incredible. But we're going into, I think, the last few minutes of that Denmark-Finland match, and of course that result will be completely overmarred by everything that had gone on earlier on today. But we're seeing that goal back again in the match between Belgium and Russia, and it was just that one mistake at the back. It's so unfortunate. A case of just switching off for a slight moment, and it was Semyonov where the ball came off the side of him. And, of course, Lukaku, it's always going to land into a player of his quality, and he's never, ever going to miss an opportunity like that, is he? Thierry Henry, of course, back on the coaching staff for Belgium, was there at the World Cup not too long ago in 2018. And he's on the coaching staff today again. I think it was announced about a week ago that he would be returning to the coaching team for Belgium. And it's good to see indeed. But we're having some pretty intense treatment here for Timothy Castagna, who is down. And Thomas Meunier has been heavily warming up. And it looks like here that Timothy Castagna is probably not going to be continuing, which means I think we're going to see Thomas Meunier come onto the pitch in a few moments' time, which is not good. Of course, we don't want to see any other injuries after what's happened today. The good news, though, is that Kuzayev's okay to continue on. He's been bandaged up as Timothy Castagna with a bag of ice, just trying to make sure he's all right. But he's not going to be continuing here, and it is Thomas Meunier who is going to be coming onto the pitch, I think. And Castagna goes down the touchline. And I think Thomas Meunier is on the touchline, just waiting to get some confirmation to if he's going to come on. And yes, they're not going to take no risks today. And Thomas Meunier will come onto the pitch. And Timothy Castagna comes off. With everything, of course, as I said, that's happened today, completely understandable to play it safe and to bring on Thomas Meunier straight away after a head clash. And he'll come on. The Dortmund man hasn't had the greatest of times at Borussia Dortmund. Has struggled a little bit, I think you have to say, with his time at Borussia Dortmund. But what he's also done is been quite good at international level for Belgium over the last few years, playing that right back / right midfielder role. And no doubt, I think we will see his creative ability as this game does continue on. So, substitution made there. Let's see if that substitution, which of course was a substitution they didn't want to make, will come in good stead as the match continues on. But I believe we are into the final few minutes of that match between Denmark and Finland. I think there's 4 minutes of additional time in that match. As Chris has put in the chat, England have never won their opening game at the Euros, which is mad when you think about it. That's quite a staggering stat, and let's hope we can break that duct and go out there and get a win against Croatia. But I do think it'll be a tough game to win. If we do lose that first game, then you watch, the press will be absolutely on England's back, saying that we're going to fail and we're going to get knocked out, and we're terrible and we're failures and everything in between, because that's what the press always seem to do anytime England ever lose a match, especially on a competitive level. You know, they really love to slate England, don't they? The media out there these days. But the game has continued on, which is good to see, as we're into the last minute, I believe, of the game between Denmark and Finland. A really, really good result that'll be for Finland to get 3 points on the board. That might even put them into a good position if they can get another point in their last 2 games to potentially qualify out of the group. But as I said before, look, it's one of those where I think even in the back of the Finnish heads, they will feel like that has been completely overmarred by the result today. There's a long-range effort taken on, and I thought for a second we were going to see a bit of Toby Alderweireld magic from about 35 yards out, and he's gone for power, never really dipping towards the goal. And we're also going to have another substitution in this game as well, and Russia have made a change with Kozayev, who was the player who had the clash of heads with Timothy Castagna. And of course, again, with what's happened today, they're going to play it safe. So Denis Cheryshev, who we were speaking about a little bit earlier on today, a man who has come a little bit forgotten since the 2018 World Cup, will come onto the pitch half an hour into this match. So both teams making early changes because of the clash of heads, which is really understandable. As Carl's just said in the chat, full time in that match between Denmark and Finland. Finland winning 1-0. Massive win for Finland. And look, I know, of course, with everything that's happened in that game today, it's really, really hard to talk about that match in a serious manner. But both teams, a credit to them for going out there and playing that game literally an hour and a half after what's happened. In the complexion of the match, massive result for Finland, because that puts them in very good stead to maybe, if they can pick up one more point, maybe get out of the group stages, which would be certainly an achievement and a half. But at the same time, it's so hard to say that. It's kind of like a tainted result, isn't it, with what's happened today, and a real shame for Denmark as well. But Belgium 1-0 up against Russia right now. They're doing all they need to get themselves into a good position and maybe even go top of the group in this game. But Russia, I would say in these last 10 minutes, not really doing a great deal in terms of the attack instead, but we're going to have another stoppage in play here, because Mertens and Baranov have now both gone down. This time, again, another clash. It wasn't a clash of heads this time. Baranov was in quite a private position where his studs had gone in. That's going to hurt for quite a bit of time, I think, for Baranov. Mertens, I think, just going down, just trying to avoid the fact that I think he was going to get a yellow card, which we'll see if the referee has given him a book in there. But Baranov, yeah, quite painful one, that one. And I think, I don't actually think the referee's given a yellow card for that one. No, he hasn't given a yellow card in the end. I thought he had, but he hasn't. And play will continue on. No yellow card for Dries Mertens. And Baranov will have his certain private area, feeling a little bit of pain for now. But we're just seeing Kazayev, of course, has come off a few moments ago because of the clash of heads. He was bandaged up, which is why I was quite surprised that he did come on again. But both teams opting to play it safe with about 15 minutes left of this first half. 1-0 as it stands. As Courtois doing a bit of sweeper keeper work coming out of his box there. He had got Zubnin a little bit close to him, so he had to just hoof the ball away. And in the end, it will be a Belgium throw-in inside the defensive half of play. But don't forget, if you are new to the stream, don't forget to leave a like and a subscription on the channel. Greatly appreciate it if you are new. We've got a whole host of other matches to come over the next few days on the channel, including that big fixture for England tomorrow against Croatia. Will be live from 2 p.m. UK time for that match. Well, we're live a little bit earlier than 2 p.m, but kickoff is at 2 o'clock for that match. It is going to be myself, Rowan, and KL for that game. As we are covering around about 90% of the Euros. There will be a few games here and there that we won't be covering, of course, to give us all a break. But don't you worry, if you are looking for Euro 2020 content, then this is the place to be, because we are covering pretty much every single match we possibly can before we run out of steam. Here come Belgium, though, as we just get past the half an hour mark. Of course, playing away from home today at St. Petersburg, which was one of the venues used in 2018 for the World Cup. It's an absolutely dazzling stadium. It's got a beautiful overlay on the outside of the stadium. I no doubt they'll be zooming out of the actual stadium tonight to have a look at that as the ball's lofted into the box. Goalkeeper rebounds, and just like that, the substitute Thomas Meunier gets himself onto the score sheet, and it is 2-0 to Belgium. Sorry, it is deserved. They have been knocking on the door of getting a second goal in this game, And Russia, again, switch off. It was a good save from Shunin. But when you've got a player like Thomas Meunier at the edge of the box who's ready to just able to pounce, it's a simple finish. And credit to Shunin, who very nearly pulled off a double save. Just got the fingertips to the ball. But pretty much you could say that's almost a tap-in to an open goal. And just like that, Belgium are doing exactly what they need to in their opening fixture of the tournament. And it is the substitute, Thomas Meunier. He's playing that right mid position, who makes it 2-0 before the before the 40th minute mark. And now the question will be on Russia. Can they make sure that this doesn't turn into a rout? They've got a chance to come forward here, though. It's going to be Golovin at the edge of the box. Now playing into Zobnin. Here's Mario Fernandez. I mean, if they could get a goal, that'd be pretty brilliant for them, but they pass in the end, I think, from... I'm trying to have a look at who it is in there. It's number 8 who passed the ball. Baranov was just a little bit too heavy, and it will go back to Thibaut Courtois at the edge of this box. But yeah, as you guys have been saying in the chat, and as you've put, Kyle, this could get ugly for Russia. It's not good defending at all, and they've got a fairly decent attack. You know, Golovin and Juba aren't players to sit back and not ponder upon. I think Zuba's got an incredible record in the Russian league. Golovin as well, but there's another chance for Lukaku to come forward here. Ball played towards him. It's eventually going to land at the feet of Thomas Meunier on the right-hand side, who lobs the ball into the box. Potential shout for a handball on the centre-back Zhikia. But there is no shouts in the end, and the referee waves it away. And I just think here that centre-back pairing and the defence for Russia is just a really, really weak one, and it is going to be open to pretty much being battered. And we are going to maybe see another substitution here for Russia, and it's the veteran Yuri Zirkov, who, has he gone to try and clear the ball away, I think he might have pulled his hamstring here. 38 years old as well, which is mad to see, because he's been one of those players that has been around the blocks over the last few years. Of course, played at Chelsea in the Premier League, what feels like a long, long time ago. And he's only actually played 79 minutes of football this season for Zenit, which is quite surprising when you think about it, that he's been called up to the international squad. But in the end, he's in the team, and the good news is I think he's going to be alright to continue. But quite surprising, isn't it, you have to say, that he's in the team with the lack of football he's played. Well, goalkeepers play the ball long, and there is going to be a free kick here, I believe, for Russia. And Leander Dendoncker, I think, might be the first player to go into the book here with a yellow card. We'll have to see. I don't know if he did give him a booking there or not, or whether it was just that he got the spray out. But free kick here for Russia. And a player like Alexander Golovin, this would be the perfect position. Or Yuri Zirkov, who's a good set-piece taker himself. This is a very good position for one of those players to either whip the ball into the box, or maybe even try and see if they can get the ball into the back of the net. As hope you're good, Rowan. Hope you're good, mate. Such a huge win for Finland, but Finland's tainted. That's exactly what I said to you. Said in the chat. Sorry, it does feel like a tainted win, but that result for Finland means if they get another point in their first ever Euros campaign, they might get themselves an opportunity to go through, which would be incredible. As the free kick's lofted in, Juba heads the ball down, and in the end, it's going to be flagged as offside anyway. And it wouldn't have counted had the ball have gone into the back of the net, but as we said before, Juba is the danger man for Russia tonight. And even in a game where they're 2-0 down, I just feel that if they could get a goal or make the most of Juba's height from set pieces and corners, then I'm not saying they're going to get back into this game, because I don't think they will, but it would make things fairly interesting if they were to get one back before Belgium got another in this game. But it's 2-0 as it stands. We're going towards the final 5 so minutes of this first half, which has gone by very quickly, and it's been a really good game. Probably one of the best games of the tournament so far, which of course we haven't had many games to pick and choose from yet. But I think even now, with Belgium 2-0 up, Russia have had their opportunities to push themselves forward and have a few chances, which we haven't seen that a great deal so far. We saw, of course, Turkey play a little bit preservative. Wales today play a little bit preservative. I don't know how the second half of the Denmark-Finland game went to tell you what happened and how both teams played. Of course, I don't really think that matters in the respect. But Russia, they have looked to push forward, and I think ultimately it's just switching off at the back that's cost them here. And I think they need to switch on quickly, because there's a chance here for Belgium to get the third. Ball off towards Mertens on the right wing. He's going to play it into the goal scorer, Thomas Meunier. Here's Dendoncker into Tielemans, who's got a wicked long shot on him. Of course, scored the winning goal at the FA Cup final. One of the best FA Cup final goals I think we'll see of the last decade, with the 30-yard long shot, which was one of the beautiful goals of the season. So you don't want to let him go from long range, because we know that he can certainly rip the back of the net. As Chris has said, Josh could have catched that shot on the way to Belgium's second goal. Bring Akinfeev back. And I'm surprised Akinfeev actually hasn't been actually asked to come back for this tournament. And I know, of course, he's retired from international duty, but I think there were one or two players who had actually retired from international duty for certain teams that had actually continued on. But there's a mistake at the back here. Meunier's gone down. Work calls for a penalty. And again, another mistake in this game where Belgium very nearly pounced upon it and could have had a third. Here's Carrasco. Good defending at the back by Baranov, who's able to just get the sliding tackle in and stop the run of Carrasco. But again, another opportunity in this game, and Russia are the pretty much masters of their own downfall in this game. And time again, they're just letting Belgium have a plethora of opportunities in this match. And, well, you just feel like this could have a fair few more goals in it by the very end of the match, as we are going to have a little break in play here. I think we are actually checking on VAR whether this is going to be a penalty or not. And it's Yuri Zirkov who's been technically adjudged to have fouled Meunier in this situation. And that's not a penalty for me. I think it's a very harsh decision if they were to give that. And it's Peter Walton who he's talking right now on whether he'd give it or not. And for me, that will not be given. And the referee agrees with us as well. Check over by VAR. No penalty given in the end. And I think it would have been very harsh to have given that as a penalty, if so. But there is going to be a chance here for Belgium to come forward. Going to be with Thorgan Hazard, who is starting today ahead of his brother, Eden, who's not had the greatest of times, as he is at Real Madrid, with the injuries and the weight and the other issues in life that has come his way since moving to Spain. Here is Thorgan Hazard into Carrasco. Back to Thorgan Hazard again. Got a wicked ball on him. Plays it to Lukaku at the edge of the box. What can the goal scorer do? Carrasco on the left wing. Back to Lukaku again at the edge of the box. Good defending from Baranov again, who gets the ball and he tries to unleash Zobnin on the counter-attack. But the ball is just a little bit too weak. And Belgium are able to take the ball back all the way to Courtois. Chris has asked, did you get tickets for World Match Play darts? Yes, I did. However, it's looking more likely that I'm either going to have to sell them off or it's going to get cancelled with fans. Because, of course, we know now with COVID that I believe it's getting delayed, isn't it? The call to basically go back to normal for another 4 weeks, which takes us to July 19th, which is not good for me because a lot of the tickets I'd booked were for the opening weekend fixtures. So it's looking like potentially on what happens in the next few weeks, we might have the call for that. Well, we'll know by Monday what's going to happen with the World Match Play or not. But we're actually going to see a second change here for Russia. And Yuri Zirkov's not going to be able to continue here. So Karavayev, who I believe plays at Lokomotiv Moscow, is going to come onto the pitch. And the veteran Yuri Zirkov, who we saw earlier, had a little bit of an issue with his hamstring, has come off the pitch in the end. And that's already the third change before half-time. And, well, it seems a bit weird, doesn't it? A player that's only played 80 minutes all season long to be picked to start in Belgium v Russia. I think you were kind of expecting a bit of cramp and a few injury issues for a player that's played less football than probably I have. But there's a mistake at the back again here. Ball played towards Carrasco at the edge of the box, who tries to take on his man. Again, good defending from Baranov, who I think has tried his hardest in this game to break down and stop the Belgian front line from pushing forward. Few good tackles in the last 10 or so minutes to keep out the home side, who aren't technically at home today. Of course, it's at Zenit St. Petersburg. But the Russian fans fairly quiet on what is a pretty packed out stadium. Of course, Russia in a much better position in terms of allowing fans to come back into stadiums. I think it's the most fans that there'll be at the Euros until the back end of the tournament, when Wembley, I believe, is allowed 50% of fans. So it's good to see a nearly full stadium at Zenit St. Petersburg. And, of course, Russia have had a lot of fans in stadiums over the last few months. But it's nice to see a lot of fans instead of them dotted about here and there. But here come Belgium again on the attack. It's going to be an opportunity for Toby Alderweireld to push forward. Ball's played into the path of Lukaku inside the box on the right wing, but the pass is a little bit too heavy in the end, and Zhikia is able to put the ball out of play for a throw-in. Can Belgium maybe get something from this? We will have to see. Ball's played towards Lukaku. Doesn't get towards him in the end. And I think the chance there is going to go a little bit wide of the mark. As we go into the final minutes of time in the first half of this match. I assume we'll get a little bit of additional time because of the clash of heads we had. And we do indeed. We've got 4 minutes of additional time in this game. And you can see how far Belgium have pushed forward in this match. They haven't really had to do much defending in the last 15 or 20 minutes, which has allowed the likes of Alderweireld and Vertonghen to push quite far up the pitch in this game. And ultimately here, Russia giving Belgium a fairly easy game, you have to say. As there's a long ball played towards Meunier, as the pass is just a little bit too heavy. And Meunier has been very dangerous since coming onto the pitch, and it's not been often you've been able to say that this season. If Rowan's still in the building, he'll know all the issues that Dortmund have had with Thomas Meunier at Dortmund, but he seems to be doing alright for the international stage in this first 20 or so minutes of time he's been on the pitch for. But are you going to the World Match Play, Chris? Do tell me in the chat if you are. But as I said, because I booked for a large part of the early end of the tournament, I might actually not be going because of Boris and all the COVID stuff. It might actually cause me to not be able to go and it not be worth it in the end, because I think I'd only be able to go for like a day, which is alright, I guess. It'd be quite cool to go for a day, but obviously depending with COVID and if things don't change, I cannot rely on booking a hotel a few days before the actual tournament takes place. I couldn't do that. I don't want to gamble on booking a hotel a few days beforehand, so it's just easier to cancel it and go another time. But hopefully not. Hopefully not. Here's Carrasco on the left wing. Had a hell of a lot of the ball. He's going to take on his man. Brilliant defending at the back in the end by Russia. It was a good bit of defending from Ozduev, who's had to come onto the pitch. As Belgium look really comfortable in this game, just kind of dancing around the Russian side. Here is Carrasco at the edge of the box, done really well to keep the ball. Still going. Still going. Oh, and that would have been a brilliant goal from Carrasco. He deserved the finish from the Atletico Madrid winger. And he takes on 2, then takes on 3 Russian players. And he just tries to take on the shot with his outside of the foot. And in the end, the shot just didn't really get a great deal of dip. And never really was going down low. And in the end, a really good effort from Yannick Carrasco just goes wide of the mark. And another opportunity just goes wide. And Belgium, who could have easily probably had 4 or 5 before half-time, will go in with a comfortable lead of 2-0. Unless Russia get a chance here in the next minute and 20 seconds. Here come Russia, though, trying to make something in the game. It's going to be with Kadavayev. Now to Baranov, who's dinked the ball up the pitch towards Zobnin. As Kamara's in the stream. How are we doing, mate? Hope you're good. Here's Mario Fernandez. Ball lobbed into the box towards Golovin. And in the end, the pass is just quite a good pass, but it was good defending from Belgium and Toby Alderweireld, who was able to just clear the ball away. As Chris has put, advice for Eden Hazard, stop eating local food at Spanish restaurant. That should help his weight problems. I don't think it's that. Probably all the slander the Real Madrid fans give him every week. As Cal said, World Match Play, is that the one in Blackpool you were talking about? I hope you're able to go to it. Yes, that's the one in Blackpool. I was hoping to go to, but it's looking like, with how things are in the UK, and the plan of going back to normal, that they're looking to delay it till July 19th, which is not good for me whatsoever, because I would be at Blackpool when July 19th would be. So it might be a case of not actually going to it, which will be a shame, but I guess I get some money back, and I can treat myself after the Euros, so who knows. But half-time in this game, the referee blows his whistle. As Siddiq says, I remember you for the playoff streams. You are spot on indeed. I was from the playoff stream, and I remember you as well, Siddiq Kamara. I hope you're good, my friend. But half-time, the whistle has been blown in this game between Belgium and Russia, and I think it's quite easy to say that it's been fairly plain sailing for Belgium in this first half. Lots of opportunities in the match, and the first goal came from a mistake at the back from Russia. It was a really, really poor mistake. Touch on the ball, I think it was from Semyonov, which landed in the Russian box, for Romelu Lukaku, and he got the most simple finish I think he's ever going to get. Literally about 5 yards out, a very simple goal, which he put into the bottom right-hand corner. And then we also had another goal in the game. Thomas Meunier, who got the second goal of the match, about 20 or so minutes after. Well, it wasn't 20 so minutes. I think it was about 5 or so minutes after coming on. It was a pretty simple finish in the end. Again, another mistake at the back, which cost Russia. And that has been their problem in this game. Too many opportunities where they've just gifted Belgium chances left, right and centre. And I think had they have not allowed Belgium so many opportunities, we could have easily gone into half-time, maybe with the score at 1-0 or 0-0. But ultimately, as we said at the beginning of the show when we talked through the Russian side, the defence is not strong. It's a very, very weak defence, and it's not the same side that played at the 2018 World Cup. It's a very different team, and you can tell, of course, we've had played in this game. There is a lot of reliance on Juba, which is what was kind of similar at the 2018 World Cup, but they had Cheryshev and Golovin, who were in very good form, and right now they just don't seem to be able to get anything going in terms of the actual side in the first 45 minutes overall. As KD's in the building, how are you doing, mate? Hope you're all good as always. Welcome along to the stream. But don't forget, if you are new to the channel as always and you've enjoyed the watch along so far, then don't forget to leave a like and a subscription on the channel if you are new to the stream. We are covering about 90% of the matches over the whole of Euro 2020. There will be some games which we'll miss, but of course there aren't enough of us to cover them. Well, there is probably enough of us to cover it, but we're having a break here and there, of course, to sit back and relax. But as we know today, we've had a whole host of fixtures. It's been a whirlwind of action today, a really emotional day across the whole of football. We started off the afternoon with Wales-Switzerland. It was a really, really good second half of action. The game ended 1-1, of course. Originally, the scoring was opened by Bril Donald Embolo with the first goal of the game, and then Kiefer Moore with an equaliser in the second half. Really good match overall, which neither team was able to win. We saw, of course, we've been talking about it over the last 45 minutes. Denmark-Finland, we know what's happened with Eriksson and that. The game did continue on about an hour and a half, 2 hours after everything that happened with Eriksson. Fantastic, obviously, to know he's in a stable condition and that. That game did end 1-0 to Finland. Goal from Pohjanpalo in that match. There was a penalty for Denmark, which was saved in the end by Hradecki, and Finland, on their first ever European Championship match, do get themselves a good win, although it's, of course, a tainted result with everything that did go on with that match. But, of course, we've then got this game going on as well. Belgium-Russia, which is 2-0 as it stands. We'll talk through that game a little bit more in a few moments' time. But don't forget, if you do want to check out our social media for when we go live and such, of course, we didn't tweet out the lineups for this game just because I had no idea if it was even going to take place, if I'm being honest with you, so I didn't get to really tweet out the teams and such. But if you do want to check out our social media to know when we go live, and when we do, of course, stream on the channel, as you can see, our Twitter is @the_top corner. and our Instagram is _sportscorner_. Do go and check those out. It's highly, highly recommended. We always tweet out and post on Instagram when we do go live. And, of course, you can join us on our Twitter and Instagram and see what the teams are looking like when the lineups are announced. So that is the social media links. Let's take a look at some of the content to come on the channel over the next few days. Now, we know, of course, we've got triple headers now of games throughout the rest of the tournament. So very excited, of course, for the rest of the group stages to have games at 2 p.m, 5 p.m, and 8 p.m. And as you know, tomorrow is a massive day if you're an England fan, because this is the lineup for your streams tomorrow throughout the day. We start off with myself, Rowan, and KL. We're going to be live with England taking on Croatia. We'll be live about 10 or 15 minutes before kickoff. What a game that one should be. Should be an absolute belter. I'm really looking forward to that match. KL will be live with Austria versus North Macedonia. That'll be at 5 p.m. UK time. Should be an interesting game, that one. Of course, North Macedonia, the second team to have never played in the European Championships. Can they also get a win in their first game of the tournament? And then, of course, there will be one game which isn't covered on the channel. Unless anybody else wants to cover it, then they're more than welcome to. Netherlands taking on Ukraine. That's from 8 p.m. UK time. That should be an absolute belter of a match. I'm not going to lie, Netherlands' first game at the Euros. Of course, they have had quite a few years of struggles, haven't they? They weren't even at the World Cup not too long ago. But they are going to be playing in the European Championships against a very in-form and very, very hungry-looking Ukraine side, which, of course, are managed by a certain Shevchenko. So it'll be interesting to see how they do in that game. I did forget to actually show my one to watch for this game. It was Eden Hazard. He's not even playing. I've got a very bad tendency of showing players that aren't even on the pitch. But let's talk about the match and the stats of the game, because I think that's the most important part of the game that we're covering right now, the actual stats. And in terms of the stats overall of the match, which I'm just going to get up onto my screen at the very least. I don't think you guys will be able to see it, sadly. But Belgium, 7 shots free on target in the game so far, which is quite surprising, because I actually thought they had more shots in the game. And maybe it's just because over the last 40 minutes, or 45 minutes, sorry, it has just constantly felt like constant Belgian pressure and waves of attacks. But they've only had 7 opportunities, which surprises me. As for Russia, they've had 2 shots, 1 on target, 32% possession to the 68% of Belgium. And the important thing here for Russia is if they do want to get back into this match, and they're going to have to somehow change something in this game. They've already made 2 substitutions. We saw Zirkov come off because of an injury that he picked up. And then we did also see, I think it was the change for Kuzayev, who came off because of an injury that he picked up, a clash of heads with Timothy Castagna. So I do think that realistically, if they can get a goal in the first 10 or 15 minutes, very similar to what we saw in that Wales-Switzerland game, it could open this match up to become quite an interesting second half. But the reliance will be on Artem Zhuba to go out there and try and do something with the few set pieces and free kicks that they get in the game, because they're not going to get many, especially with how Belgium are playing so far. They're not going to get a great deal of opportunities whatsoever in the game, but they've got to make the most of them, because that is what the difference is between a world-class team and a good team. You know, a team like Belgium could only have 2 opportunities in the game, and most of the times they would take them. Russia need to do something fairly similar in this game. So we will, of course, have a little break for the moment. Don't forget, we've got a whole host of games coming up over the weekend. As we said before, we've got the second half of Belgium v Russia coming up, I would say, in about 5 or so minutes' time. We'll have a quick break because it is fucking boiling in this room right now. England-Croatia tomorrow, 1:50 from with me, myself, Kale, and Rowan. Should be an absolute belter of a game. Really looking forward to covering that tomorrow. Austria, North Macedonia, you can join Kale for that from about 5 to 5. Should be a very interesting game indeed. And then for the rest of the weekend, we've got Scotland against Czech Republic. That's on Monday with KD from 5 to 2. Should be a very good game indeed. And then we've got Spain up against Sweden. That's on Monday night, 10 to 8. We'll be covering all of the other games from the rest of the day. I'll be live for that from 10 to 8. Should be a very good game indeed. But as for the moment, we're just going to take a quick break because, as I said, it is absolutely roasting in this room right now. I'm sweating like a pig. And we'll be back for the second half of action between Belgium and Russia in a few moments' time. We'll talk through the benches as well. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back very, very shortly indeed. If I could find where the screen is. There we go. Back in a few. And we are back for the second half of the game between Belgium and Russia. Thank you for all of you guys that have, of course, waited and been patient in the stream. As I said, it's really, really warm in the UK still. It's kind of like a little heat wave, I guess, we've got over the next few days. I think tomorrow it's forecast like 27 degrees, which means in my room it'll be about 32. So I'm probably going to burn live on stream, which is something you guys don't want to see. So it's just nice to take a quick break. We know half-time of this match, 2-0 to Belgium against Russia. It has not been a great game whatsoever, has it, at all for Russia. Two vital mistakes have cost them in this game, which has allowed Belgium to capitalise in very good standards. And we're seeing the, of course, the highlights of the other game that went on a little bit earlier on with the Denmark-Finland game, as that ended, of course, 1-0 earlier on. But Daz has asked me in the chat, who do you think will start tomorrow? I think we'll play it'll be like a 5 or a 3 at the back, wouldn't it? So I would guess tomorrow Pickford would be in goal, and I will say we play a 5. He's got to be like a 5-2-3, hasn't it, or something like that? Or what I would play a 4-3-3. Right, the team I would play for the England match: Pickford in goal, Chilwell at left back. I would have. I'm trying to think of the centre backs that are actually in the team. I can't remember the centre backs off the top of my head. Chilwell at left back. Right back, I would have Trippier. At midfield, I would have Foden, Mount, and Rice. I wouldn't play Henderson because I think he's too risky with the injury. Left wing, I would probably play Rashford. Is he out injured, I think? I can't remember if Rashford's out injured. If not, Sterling. Right-hand side, I would play Sancho. Up top, I'd play Harry Kane. That's the team I would go for. But I'm basically doing it off the top of my head. So I've got no idea who's playing. And I've technically not got any centre-backs because I can't remember which centre-backs have even been called up to the squad. But Kyle Walker would be one of them. There you go. Kyle Walker, I know he's in the team. So I'd put Kyle Walker at centre-back. And I'd probably put him alongside someone like Ben White. I don't know who else is at centre-back, if I'm being honest with you. John Stones, sorry. John Stones, there you go. I forgot of John Stones as well. But going to be a change. Another change at half-time. This is now the third change of the game for Russia. Barinov's actually come off the pitch. And they have brought on, I think it's Deviv, which has come on, who is a little bit more of a creative midfielder. So, of course, Russia trying to see if they can change up this game slightly and go out there and maybe get a nice early goal in the second half. But we are underway with the action in the second half. And we are going to need a little bit of a miracle, you could say, for Russia to get back into this game. 2-0 down. They need something fairly quickly in this match if they want to come back into this game. And we're going to have a long-range effort, which is taken on in the end by number 11, Zobnin. But his shot is always going high and wayward of the goal. And we've seen a fair few long-range efforts taken on in this competition over the last few days, but none of them have rippled into the back of the net yet, and unfortunately, to tell you, Zobnin's wasn't a good one either. But yeah, it's one of those matches where if Belgium score another, then I think it will be very impossible for Russia to go on and get something in this game. But I think even at 2-0, get a goal early on, first 10 or 15 minutes, and that might just make things interesting. Here's Mario Fernandes on the right wing trying to make a run forward. And it's Thorgan Hazard who is going to have to do some defending, let's not forget. Playing as a wide midfielder today. Does really well to get a touch on the ball. And it'll be a throw-in for the Brazilian-born Mario Fernandes. Never actually capped by Brazil. And has played a pretty lengthy career out in Russia, which is why he was able to get Russian citizenship and play for the national team. You might remember him missing a very crucial penalty in the World Cup. I think it was against Spain. So he has had his share, fair share of dramatic moments in a Russian shirt already for his fairly short career in a Russian shirt. But I'd be interested to see how many caps he's actually had for Russia in the space of the last few years, because I don't think he would have had a great... well, he'd have had a lot, but he's just one of those players where, because he's only been Russian citizenship for a few years, he'll not have as many as he could have had he been able to have got a citizenship a little bit earlier on. But bit of a slow start to the second half. Belgium just having a bit of a feel for the ball, making sure that Russia don't put any pressure on them in this early section of the second half, which is expected. And if they do get that third, then it could turn into a rout. We saw the defensive frailties of the back line of Russia. Shunin, who should have probably saved the second goal, and Semyonov with a mistake. Zhikia really struggling at the back. And of course, we had that change for Ozduev to come onto the pitch. Sorry, Kalavayev to come onto the pitch for Yuri Zirkov as well for the injury that he picked up. So, going to be a lot of work. And Zhikia tries to play the ball long to absolutely no one. It's a very simple header in the end by Jan Vertonghen. And the ball will go out of play for a throw-in for Russia. And just maybe a chance here to try and push up the pitch. We've seen not a great deal of Denis Cheryshev since he's come on as the substitute early on in the first half. And as I said before, been very quiet over the last few years because he's not played a great deal of football. Really struggled in Spain to get any game time at Valencia. He's had a few moments here and there of the player that we saw at him in the World Cup, but ultimately his career has gone down the pan a little bit since that stellar tournament in his home nation a few years ago. As the ball's been hoofed long towards Juba, tries to get it towards the edge of the box to Golovin, who's moved into a central attacking midfield position. Doesn't get to him in the end, but Juba's got the ball back on the right wing. Now into the path of Mario Fernandez. Back to Juba on the right wing. What can the Russian striker do? Here's Zobnin. And good defending by Beata with a slide tackle. As Russia get the ball back again. And try to put some pressure on. Ball lofted long towards Juba. Courtois comes out and punches the ball away. And in the end, I think Juba's actually been flagged for offside anyway. So, yeah, a bit of pressure there from Russia, but not really made the most of it, you have to admit. Good punch as well from Courtois, who's a little bit taller than Juba, 6'6" Courtois, so he's not going to have any issues against Juba coming up, because he's the taller of the two players, but he's just going to make sure that he's aware, because there will be a few chances for Russia tonight, especially for Juba. As I said before, the set pieces and the free kicks will always be aimed towards him, which is why you would expect Belgium to probably double up on the striker, who had again a prolific season for Zenit as they won the Russian League. What was quite a dramatic Russian League title win, actually. Very tight league in Russia for the first time in a while, but they still went on to win the title. And Juba scoring an absolute screamer in the game that won them the title as well, as they look to push up the pitch again here. The technical home team, they are away in this game, but playing most of their games in St. Petersburg, which should be a booster for them. But they've not made the most of it yet. Here's Thomas Meunier, trying to dance around the Russian defence. And in the end, finds himself a little bit unstuck against the substitute Diviv. And a little bit of sloppiness coming to play here for Russia as well. Sorry, not for Russia, for Belgium. Which is just allowing Russia a little bit of an opportunity to try and push forward in this game. And as I said, you just feel that maybe they could push towards getting a goal in this match. But they need to get it fairly soon, because as time ticks on, it's going to get less and less likely for them to try and come back into this match. Which, Belgium were expected to win. But you would like to see them put up at least a good enough fight in this game and get something out of the match. Going to have a throw in though for Russia, which is taken just beyond the halfway line. And it goes all the way back to the keeper, Shunin, who's lofted the ball long, trying to get it towards Juba. Doesn't get to him in the end, and Dendonka, who is going to be quite good aerially, quite a tall player, gets himself onto the ball, but Russia get the ball back here. Here's Cheryshev. Ball lofted into the box, and well, it's a cross that doesn't really test Thibaut Courtois in the goal, and it's a chance again that's gone wide of the mark, and Russia doing much better here in the first few minutes of the second half. Much better. But I think those two goals that they conceded early on have really affected them. As I said, had you gone 1-0 at half-time, then maybe it would be a different story. But the fact you've got to get 2 at least minimum to get yourself level in the game, and then, of course, get a third to win it, is probably asking a little bit too much of this Russian team. Here's Carrasco at the halfway line, looking to take Belgium forward so they can get a third and kill this game off once and for all. Ball played into the path of Munier. Takes on his man. Now Hazard into Carrasco. Ball flicked towards Lukaku, and the cross in the end was towards the near post and maybe a little bit too far away from Lukaku in the end. But Carrasco testing this Russian back line. And doing quite well, actually. Been a real menace at the back. And Mario Fernandes has had a few big issues coming up against him. Which he will hope that that doesn't continue in this game. As I think referees just going to have a little talking to here to Dendoncker. Obviously, no cards being pulled out as of yet in this game, but no doubt as it does continue on, apologies for the on, as it does continue on, I think we will probably see the yellow cards come out fairly soon. Just seeing Golovin there, just slapped around the head by Dendoncker. A bit of a weird one to slap him around the head, but he's just getting a little bit of a warning there from the ref. Chance though for Russian to come forward. Mario Fernandes with the ball, trying to loft it towards Juba, who's at the edge of the box, and well, Juba did take the shot on, but in the end there was a foul in the build-up. And the referee will call it back for a Belgium free kick. Foul on Dendoncker from Denis Cheryshev. And either way, the ball would have been saved if not. Because it was straight at the keeper. Simple save Courtois. And just a moment there, a little glimpse of what Russia can do. Even if it was a foul. They've got players that can, break down this Belgium team. But we've just not seen enough of them yet to really know whether or not they'd be able to get a point or not in this game. Here's Cheryshev going to play the ball into Diveev. Now to Juba, about 30 yards out. Tries to get it back to Cheryshev. Comes to Diveev. Now to Golovin, who takes the shot on. And the slight deflection from the Belgium centre-back Alderweireld will take it into the hands of Thibaut Courtois. And there'll be no corner for the Belgians to defend against. I thought there for a second we were going to get a corner for Russia, but they haven't. And it's been a fairly quiet 10 minutes, hasn't it, for the Belgian attack? Although here comes Carrasco. Might be an opportunity now for them to come forward. There is a potential opportunity for the ball to be played to Jan Vertonghen, who's made a run to striker. But it doesn't get to him in the end. He will move back to his centre-back position. As it has been a fairly slow first 10 minutes of second half action. Which is not what we got in the Wales-Switzerland game. But I guess that one was a stalemate. This one with Belgium 2-0, they're quite comfortable and happy to obviously slow the game down a little bit. They don't really have to slow it down, but they're pretty happy to just take the 3 points home and get themselves pretty much nearly through to the next round already. But we just need Belgium to be tested a little bit more by this Russian team. As the ball is with Courtois, who's going to play out from the back. In fact, he's just going to hoof it up the pitch instead, which is probably the best thing to do as a goalkeeper. Although, saying that, here's Mario Fernandes, about 30 yards out, into Diveev. Now to Golovin. Plays it to Karavayev. What can they do here, Russia? Really need to get something. In fact, plays that's been flagged for offside, which I swear, that is now the 17th time it's been flagged as offside in this match. And you can see the Russian fans not happy whatsoever with what they've seen so far. And I don't blame them, because the amount of times they've been offside in this game is probably more than they've had shots in the match overall. 4 attempts, 1 on target for Russia. 8 attempts, 3 on target for Belgium. He's not had many attempts in the match on target. But I think Russia just need to do something fairly soon here. Maybe they bring on another player in the attacking side of play to try and change it up. But they've not got many changes left. They've already used 3 of them. 2 of them at half time. Well, in the first half at the very least. And you just feel that as time ticks away, this is going to be quite a boring second half. As the referee is going to give a free kick here to... No, he's going to give throw-in, sorry, to Belgium. Here's Tielemans. Tries to feed a ball into Lukaku. Very nearly turned into a good through ball to the Belgian striker. And in the end, the pass doesn't come off. And that's the thing with Lukaku. You've got to watch out. We know the talent he's got. Very capable player of putting the ball into the back of the net. And he's got that burst of pace, which is arguably, it's quite different, isn't it, from any other striker in world football, the build that he's got and the pace. I think probably one of the only other players you could kind of compare him to is someone like an Isak of Sweden, who has certainly got bags of pace on his own, but Lukaku, because he's such a bulky player in terms of his height and build, he's a very, very different striker to anyone else. But here's a chance for Juba, who's outside the box. What can Juba do here? He's not really got anybody to play the ball to. What about a chance here, maybe, for Golovin? Plays the ball to the right-hand side. Here's Mario Fernandes. Just feel like they're a good chance wasted for Russia. Golovin tries to feed it back to Mario Fernandes. Couldn't squeeze the ball to the Russian right-back. And here's Diviev into the path of Golovin, who tries to flick a ball into the box. And now the pressure is just slightly beginning to build here on Belgium as they've got to defend. But again, I think another opportunity wasted. Ball lofted into the box. And it will go out of play for a Russian corner. And they've got a corner here. And maybe an opportunity now, with half an hour left of this game, to try and get something in this match. And maybe make it 2-1. And make things fairly interesting. Because it's been a fairly dull first 15 minutes of action in the second half. And we just need something to bring it to life here. Because as time's going on, as I said, Belgium fairly comfortable to just take the result. And take the 3 points. So Artem Juba in the box, the one they want to get it towards. There's 3 Belgian defenders on him. Ball's lofted in. It's a fucking awful cross. That's terrible, that. Tried to in-swing it. Very similar to what we saw of Switzerland earlier, where they were trying to get it towards the near post. And it's a very simple clearance from Yuri Tielemans, who was able to clear the ball away. And with half an hour left, Russia trying all they can to put the pressure on. And as I said before, if they didn't have the mistakes in the first half, we could have easily been sat here with a stalemate. They've looked much more organised at the back because they've not been tested. Although they might get tested now. There's a chance here for Dries Mertens to drive forward. Plays the ball to Carrasco on the left wing. What can the Atletico Madrid winger do here? He has to slow the play down as the Russian players all push back as fast as they possibly can. And now there's 7 Russian players to break down to the 5 Belgian players forward. One of them is Tielemans, who plays the ball to Meunier. Back to Tielemans again. Here's Thorgan Hazard into Carrasco. Tries to play back to Thorgan Hazard, and it doesn't get to him in the end. And another chance wasted as we reach bang on an hour in this match. And a real shame, although Lukaku at the edge of the box here. What can they do here, Belgium? Lukaku, edge of the box. Just rolls it past himself, and it's cleared away by Zhikia. Was calling about a potential shout for a penalty. He did feel like he was being held there, but the referee not even acknowledging his calls. And play will continue. Here's Meunier into Dries Mertens, who has not really done much in this game, to be honest with you, but maybe there's a chance now, as there is going to be a corner for Belgium, and maybe an opportunity to try and make something from it. It'd be nice to have a goal, wouldn't it? Although saying that, if it was a goal for Belgium, it would kill this tie off, and Belgium would have the 3 points in the bag. We'll see what happens with the corner. But don't forget, if you are new to the stream and you've enjoyed it so far, don't forget to leave a like and subscription if you are new to the channel. We're going to be covering a whole host of the Euros games over the next few weeks. So if you have enjoyed it, then stick around, because we've got plenty more games to come, including England against Croatia, which is tomorrow from about 10 to 2. As the corner is lobbed in, punched away by Shunin. And in the end, that corner doesn't come to anything, and it will be a Belgian throw-in. As Chris says, going on my caravan park holiday with family in Scotland on Friday. For a few days, of course. Had to go in England playing Scotland. Should be an interesting one, that one, shouldn't it, that game? Especially when you're in Scotland as well. Hopefully have a good time, mate, when you do go. Perfect weather as well to go, although, saying that, the heat is going soon. It is slowly dropping down, temperature-wise. Which is kind of good, because in the room I'm in right now, I am absolutely roasting. I am sweating like mad. So, it'd be nice for it to go a little bit more cooler, I guess, so I can sit back and relax a little bit. Here's Tielemans. Plenty of space to work into. Plays the ball to Mertens. Now to Lukaku at the edge of the box. Really do need something in this game to put it to life, and it desperately screams of a Russia goal to bring it to life, because Belgium, obviously, with the 2 goals they've got, they're in cruise control. They don't have to do much in this game. They don't really have to, exhaust themselves in this match, because they know they're going to get the 3 points here, unless Russia do something fairly quickly. As I think we're going to get another substitution here for Russia. It's going to be Mukin who comes on for Zobnin. And Zobnin comes off. Mukin comes on. And, Denis Cheryshev, the substitute, has been substituted. Denis Cheryshev's come off. And Miranchuk coming on. So I don't think Miranchuk will care. But Cheryshev, I think, will be very annoyed about that, as he's subbed off in a game which he was subbed on. So he's only had about 40 minutes, Cheryshev. And he is substituted off. But there's a chance here for Mertens inside the box. Brilliant defending at the back from Karavayev, who was able to just clear the ball away. And there might be a chance here for Russia to come forward, as Zhubia is fouled. And we will get a free kick for the away side. Zhubia making the most of it. And maybe now a good opportunity to lob this into the box, because we've not really had many opportunities whatsoever in the second half. And as I said, it really needs one, because this game is slowly ticking away with not really much happening in it. It started well. It was pretty good first half. It's like the role reversal of the Wales-Switzerland game. A very good first half, but a pretty crap second half, you have to admit, as the free kick is an absolute waste. It was a terrible, terrible ball in the end. A real waste of an opportunity, and that goes out of play for what will be I think a goal kick there for Thibaut Courtois to take. And when you look at the stats, still only 1 shot on target for Russia, 3 shots on target for Belgium. We haven't actually had a shot on target in this second half, which kind of tells you how it's panning out so far. As Chris says, I won't be wearing England shirt with Scottish people around me, just when I'm watching it on Caravan. Play it safe, Chris. I like it. Don't want to get yourself in trouble while you're there, as we get ourselves a Belgium goal kick with about 25 minutes left of action. I wish there was much more to talk about, but there really isn't. It's not been a great one, this one, has it? As Vertonghen's gone down. Foul from Juba. Referee's called it back straight away for a free kick. But Vertonghen's staying down here, which is what you don't want to see. And of course, I would assume there'll be a few Belgian fans that will have travelled over to Russia for this game. And I mean, you can see loads of Russian fans there tonight. I'd be interested to see how many fans are actually there. As Riza said, did Hradečky make a pen save? He did, yes. He did make a pen save. So Hradečky did get himself probably a few extra points on the board in fantasy football. I had Donnarumma as my goalkeeper this week. I had Hradečky on the bench, I think, which is a shame. But I think most of us probably didn't expect Hradečky to be making penalty saves and keeping clean sheets in that match. And fair play to him. Regardless of what happened today, fair play. It's a good result for Finland, as we are towards the last 25 minutes of this game. 2-0 as it stands to Belgium. Goals coming in the first half from Lukaku and Thomas Meunier, but apart from that, there is not really much to scream and shout about in this game, I'll have to admit. And we did have another game going tonight, of course. It was that match between Denmark and Finland. Finland coming out with their first ever win in the European Championships, in their first ever campaign. 1-0 in that match. Piampolo with the goal, and there was a penalty for Denmark, as we were saying before. That was saved by Hradečky. Not the greatest of penalties, you'll have to admit, whoever took it. But Finland, big win for them, and puts them actually into a very good position to potentially even make it out of the groups in their first ever campaign, which would be awesome to see. I know, obviously, result today overmarred with what's happened, but I think regardless, if you're a Finnish fan, if you have a chance to make it into the round of 16, you will take it. And you'd be delighted to make it, because you could come up against one of the big sides, potentially someone like a Belgium. As Russia, again, are flagged offside. I swear we must have had offside about 7 billion times in this match, which is very frustrating indeed. And as I said, there's just not much going on in the game to really talk about. It's been a very, very disappointing one. And of course, Ree's saying it's probably due to the Danes mentally after what happened. And yeah, it's a tough one. And credit to the players to go back out there and play, because, as I said, if it was if Ericsson wasn't stable, I think it would have been... There would have been absolutely no chance these games would have gone on tonight. But the fact he's stable is brilliant. But from what they saw and what we saw on the screen, I mean, I couldn't believe it. I was genuinely, like, gobsmacked with what happened. And it's something that I don't think I've ever seen anything, and probably will ever see anything like that ever again. With what happened in that game, it was just shocking. I genuinely thought that we were going to be having much worse than what we had, and I'm glad he's pulling through. And of course, we'll know more in the next few days with what's happened and whether, Christian Eriksen, how okay he is for the future. Because, of course, we know, I think the best example we've had was Fabrice Maramba, who probably had a similar situation like that and pulled through. And it's good to see that Eriksen's pulling through himself. But 20 minutes left of this game, 2-0 as it stands. Of course, both these teams will have also been credit to them to play this game, because that'll be lingering in the mind as well. As there's a long ball from Tielemans to Lukaku. Ball gets towards him. It's a little bit heavy towards the left-hand side of the corner flag, so Lukaku's not going to take it towards goal. Plays it to the edge of the box towards Mertens, who tries to pass it into the path of Dendoncker, but his pass is just a little bit too weak in the end. And, another chance there for Belgium goes wide. Even credit to Lukaku, because he's one of the players, and, the likes of Chadley and Vertonghen and Alderweireld, the players that have played with him, and of course Lukaku is playing with him now. Credit to those players, because they'll have close affiliations with Eriksen from when they played or they play with him, and it's one of those where I think, I was saying earlier, we're very lucky in life. It's one of those moments where you take a step back and you appreciate life for what we've got, because it's mad, isn't it? It's one of those situations you never want to see, and it was awful to watch. And I think we should all be grateful, because with how long they were doing CPR and resuscitation and things like that, I really did think we were going to be seeing much worse. And I'm honestly shocked. And it's awesome that he's in a much better position, but with everything going on, it was fear for the worst, basically. It was fear for the worst. But Rowan's saying, mental to think how shit Russia are without performance-enhancing drugs. I mean, you could say the same about South Korea when they were in, and Japan when they were in the 2002 World Cup. But I think that was more shit refereeing than anything. But, I mean, as I said, I think the game itself, right, it's not been a great game. But Russia have had 2 mistakes in the game which have cost them massively. And it's the 2 mistakes that have caused the 2 goals. And I just think in this game, had those mistakes not gone in, would we have seen a different match? Maybe. We would have seen a little bit more urgency from Belgium in this game. But what we are going to see is a substitution. And Eden Hazard is coming on. And this is a nice moment, because we haven't seen much of Eden Hazard over the last few years since he moved to Real Madrid. Had a lot of issues with weight and, of course, substitutions and that. But I think Dries Mertens is the man to come off, but I think Vertonghen's down, so it could even be Vertonghen who comes off here. We'll have to see in a second to see who the substitute is going to be, but I think it might even be Vertonghen who comes off instead. And it was the foul early on in the game from Artem Zhuba, just pushes him off balance, and in the end, I don't think he's actually recovered from that, but we'll see who comes off here. And it will be Dries Mertens in the end who does come off. And Eden Hazard comes on. Let's hope he doesn't get injured, because he has got some of the worst glass legs in football. And we might even see another substitution as well for Vertonghen. But we're not seeing anything for now with that. Of course, they have got the likes of Denayer and Vermaelen on the bench, which could maybe come on and be a substitute. But Vertonghen will continue for now, which is good to see. And Rowan saying as well, fair play to Kier as well for his quick thinking. Yeah, for everything that he did is incredible. But it's good to see. It's good to see, and it's one of those days in football where that will be talked about forever. with what happened, and an absolute credit to Anthony Taylor as well for the fact that I think it took him about 5 seconds, even less than that, to instantly know what was going on and to get the medical team out and for them to react. Paramedics and stuff is incredible, and fair play to them. And I always thought to myself, with what happened today, I always think there should always be a standby ambulance ready just in case at football stadiums. I guess, of course, you can't have that because of situations and that. But the way that they reacted was so quick that it proves, sometimes you don't need ambulances literally next to a stadium because they can react just perfectly and get the situation under control. And I think realistically, with how it looked, it was in control in the stadium because, of course, we saw the picture of Eriksson actually reacting to what had gone on, which means, credit to the paramedics. And those paramedics, their names will come out in a few days, and they will get a hell of a lot of credit for what they did. But Munier coming forward here, plays it towards Yannick Carrasco, who was onside, but couldn't really do much with the ball, and the guy had played for a throw-in, as Rowan says, exactly what I said earlier. How good is Munier? Always said he should be Dortmund's number one. It's something about him being in an international shirt. He turns into a different animal, Munier, and I don't know what it is. He just loves playing in a red shirt. So maybe if Dortmund change the shirts to red next season, then you might get the brilliant Munier that we get to see for Belgium. But Logan's in the stream. How you doing, mate? Oh, you're good. He says, hey, mate, back again. Remember me from Premier League night final? I do indeed. Oh, you're good, my friend. Good to see you again. Good to see you too. Oh, you're good, mate. And pray for Eriksson. Yeah, pray for him indeed. Obviously, it's brilliant news to hear that he's stable and he's all right. And as I said, I think we'll hear much more information on what's happened with Eriksson as time goes on. I mean, I don't think there has been any more updates since on Christian Eriksson's health, but we'll of course have to see as time goes on what happens. It won't be something we'll see straight away. That'll be something we'll get updated over the next few days, I think, on his actual mental well-being and that. But Russia coming forward here might be an opportunity for them maybe to get a goal. It'd be nice to get at least one goal and try and get something in this game because, I mean, it's been pretty boring, hasn't it, this second half? And that's no disrespect to the two teams, but, of course, Belgium don't have to do anything. They can pretty much walk around the pitch because Russia aren't doing anything themselves. And that's the most frustrating thing. We need a little bit more urgency from Russia because I don't know if they've been told, but this isn't a two-legged match. They're not going to have another chance. They will go home with 0 points here, as there might be a chance for them to come forward. Really good work, as there is an opportunity, but brilliant work there from Didrik Beata, who just stops the run of, I think it was Golovin there who pushed forward, but it didn't come to anything in the end, as we go into the final 15 minutes of action, as this game is slowly ebbing away as time continues on. And if I was you, I would probably grab the pillow out and maybe fall to sleep, because it has been a pretty dull 25 or 30 minutes of action, if I'm being honest with you. But yeah, just seeing that tackle again from Didrik Beata, very good tackle in the end. It was an opportunity, I think, for Yevgengiev to push forward. He was one of the substitutes. But we are going to see a change now, and Thomas Vermaelen will be coming on here for Jan Vertonghen. Of course, Thomas Vermaelen, you probably won't remember him in terms of where he plays these days, but he is actually in Japan at Vissel Kobe. Plays alongside Iniesta in Japan, so we don't actually get to see Vermaelen anymore. Former Arsenal man as well, former Barca man, let's not forget. But we're going to see another change as well, as Belgium pretty much, let's be honest, are resting players now. Dennis Pryor, another one of the Leicester City players, comes on for Yannick Carrasco, and that does mean that we are, of course, just seeing Belgium rest players. They haven't really got much going on in this game now, have they, to be honest? They can just rest the big stars and get ready for their next match, which I believe their next game that they're going to be playing is against Denmark, which we'll talk about those games a little bit later on at the end of this match. But Denmark is next, and of course that'll be quite an interesting game in terms of the group itself. My camera has lost focus. Let's focus it back up. There we go. Logan saying the old Arsenal Barca man, Vermaelen. The fact everybody's known him for years and just never plays. Yeah, that's the thing. He's at Vissel Kobe now in Japan. I think he plays quite a bit there, as you'd expect. But the fact he's still in the team, to me, tells you how weak Belgium's defensive line is for the future. I'll be quite frankly honest with you, they are fucked in the future if they don't get themselves some centre-backs soon, because Biata is getting on with age, Alderweireld and Vertonghen aren't young, Denayer is the best one that they've got, Vermaelen's getting on. So realistically, Belgium are going to need 4 new centre-backs in the future. And right now, I'll be honest with you, I personally think they have got a lot of work to do to find 4 new centre-backs, because I can't really think of one off the top of my head that will be there in the future. Or a young one, at least, for the future. Louis asked, are you good at golf? I'll be honest, mate. I've never actually played golf in terms of the game itself. Crazy golf, yeah, love a bit of crazy golf. But golf itself, I've never actually played. I'll be truthful with you. I will not lie. As this game has really simmered out, hasn't it, if I'm being honest? Really simmered out. There is nothing going on in this match. I mean, literally, there is nothing going on whatsoever in this game. I might turn over to BBC One and watch Casualty. Or BBC Two. Phil Collins is on. I might go and watch that instead for the last 10 minutes, because more drama and entertainment than this game right now. Although saying that, here's Lukaku at the edge of the box. Now into Thomas Meunier. Plays it to Dennis Praet, who takes his first few touches of the game as a substitute. Into Alderweireld. Just taking the ball back. And Biata will just pass it round. Louis asks, where's the bevies at? I haven't got any bevies, mate. I'm not going to lie. I'll probably have a bevy tomorrow with England-Croatia. I'll have a nice little gin and a drink. But right now, pretty much since I've been home and moved everything, I haven't actually been out. I'm not going to lie. I haven't been out the house since, which is mad to think. But yeah, I'm probably going to go out at some point and get a few drinks. So I am sorted out for the games over the next few weeks. But I will be having a drink tomorrow, don't you worry, for the England-Croatia match. Can't wait for that one indeed. And Logan said Denayer is a good young centre-back and Dendoncker could play there when Witsel and KDB come back to take the centre-mid spot. Which is true, but then you look at the midfield. Witsel's not getting any younger either, so he's going to probably move on. And as I said, I guess Dendoncker can play there, but you need 4 centre-backs in the future for Belgium, and that's only 2. So, yeah, they've got a lot of work to do to find the future of the Belgian defence, because even fullbacks-wise, they're not blessed with good fullbacks, are they? In terms of defenders. I know they've got Meunier in that, but I would class Meunier and Castagna as wide midfielders rather than fullbacks, in my opinion, as we reach the final 10 minutes of this match. Are you still awake? I hope you are. Maybe it's just me, but this will probably be one of the... he's had 2 goals in it, and it has been a little bit of a snooze fest. As Belgium come forward here. Here's Romelu Lukaku at the halfway line. Trying to push forward. Doesn't come to anything in the end. And it'll be Dennis Praet at the halfway line as the Russian fans have opted to now do a Mexican wave around the St. Petersburg Stadium. Probably because they're bored themselves of watching Russia do nothing. And that's no disrespect. I just think Russia have been very disappointing in this game. They've not really done a great deal whatsoever. In that first 10 or 15 minutes, they had an opportunity, I feel, to ride the crest of the wave and maybe go and get something in this match. But ultimately, they haven't whatsoever. As a real shame indeed. A real shame indeed. But we're going to have a throw in here at the halfway line for Belgium. Louis saying, rewatched the Deadline stream last night, the other day, 10 Hours of Madness. Will you do another this year? Yes, we probably will. It depends when it is. It depends what's going on. I'm not going to lie, if they do it, there is a potential chance that I won't actually be there for it, because I might be away on holiday when Deadline Day is. I don't know when Deadline Day is this year, but if it's around about the similar time it was last year, I might be away, so it might not be me doing it. But yeah, I mean, I was on, I think, for like 7 or 8 hours of the 10, sorry. Or, well, maybe a little bit less than that. About 6 hours, I would have said. And it was a bonkers stream. Absolutely bonkers stream. I tried to milk every minute I could possibly get. But ultimately, it got to like 12:30 and I was gone. We were literally sat there waiting for a Shane Long transfer to go in. And I could not be bothered to stay up any longer to keep the views in. Because We were just waiting for Shenlong to be announced, which didn't get announced till like 1:30 in the morning. So we would have been sat there for an hour doing absolutely shit all. But yeah, I think we will be doing Deadline Day again because it's always one of our most popular streams. Always does well. Probably the most viewed thing we've had on the channel ever. So I do think we will be doing it at some point. Dazasaster, you looking forward to the match play this year? If I'm there, yes. If I'm not, I will look forward to it, but I'll just be a little bit pissed off I'm not there. I really want to be there for it, but with how things are looking in the UK, it's looking very likely I'm probably going to have to just either get a refund for the tickets, which obviously I don't get by choice. That's if they do get cancelled. Or I'm just going to have to sell the tickets on because right now I haven't got the hotel booked yet, and I would have to rely on the fact of waiting for the news of whether I could actually go or not because all my tickets are booked fairly early. But we've got a free kick in for Russia. Maybe an opportunity. If they could get goalie with 7 minutes left, and I'm clutching at straws, we maybe could have a grandstand finish, but what a surprise. The delivery isn't that great, and it doesn't really come to anything, if I'm being honest with you. Although Russia have still got the ball. It's lobbed back into the box, and very nearly. Didrik Beata, a heart-in-mouth moment for a second there. I think he thought for a second that ball was going to go into the back of his own net with the clearance. And Russia will get a corner here. A very cheap one at that. And as I said, we desperately, desperately need a goal in this game because right now, we're ultimately just not getting anything from this match. And a goal would make it lively. As the ball's lofted into the box and it doesn't get to anyone, and that probably sums up Russia for all of the game. It's just been crap, hasn't it, from them? Just been crap indeed. Louis saying, just hoping Worlds will be packed out. Nothing better than darts to the Ali Pali. Yeah, let's hope that basically... I'll not bang on about COVID in that, but let's hope that everybody doesn't shit themselves and we go back to lockdowns and stuff in the winter because you can't trust them right now. 1 minute they're saying, yes, we will go and we'll open up, and then the next minute they shit their pants and change their mind. They're honestly awful when it comes to decisions, and it's really frustrating. And as I said, if I don't get to go to the darts, I'll be very, very disappointed and very frustrated because I was looking forward to it. But it's looking 90% likely that I am going to be not going to it, which means I'm probably not going to stream it either. I'm just going to take a break because it's literally a week after the Euros. I'm probably going to take a nice big summer break and chill out and relax. But ultimately, in the end, yeah, it's just frustrating, isn't it? This. With the way that the world is right now, it's very unfortunate, but there's not much you can do, eh? As I think the referee's just having a little bit of a talking to the Russian manager, who I think is probably showing his fair share of frustrations with how this game has gone on, which I can't argue with him because I don't think his team have played that well, but Belgium maybe a chance to come forward here. Ball played into the path of Dennis Pryor, who's gone down, no free kick given, and Mario Fernandez will play it back to Zikia, who will just clear the ball up the pitch. And maybe a chance for them to push forward now, but Didrik Beata is there to play the ball back to Courtois as the ball was hoofled by Zikia. Does that who do you think will win the match play this year, Josh? I'm not going to say because we don't know who's going yet. Of course, we've still got the Super Series going on this week from Monday. So we don't actually know who's there yet. So I'm not going to say anything until we actually know who's there because it can all change. Of course, we know that like the top boys are going. But I also think at the same time, I think it's respectful to wait and see who else is there because there's a few players like Johnny Clayton who still aren't even there, which is mad. It's absolutely mad. Luis and Teresa May summed it up nicely. You're never going to get rid of Coronas. If you're waiting around to have 0 cases and no new variants, you will not go back to normal life. Which is very true, very true. But I also think at the same time, she's the type of cockwomble that would have probably kept us in lockdown to now. So I think the problem is, and I don't want to get into politics and stuff, but that's how desperate we've got because this game has been shite. I think there's a lot of politicians out there where when they're not in charge, they tend to big themselves up and say stuff that please people. But if they were in charge, they wouldn't have done it because... You know, they like to get people to back them, ultimately. I mean, you've only got to look at, I think it was like Tony Blair who came out and said, I personally believe if I was in charge, I would allow the people who've had the jabs to get on with life, and the people who haven't had jabs would be the ones that are restricted. And I also think to myself, he wouldn't have done that in real life anyway. But the point that she's making, I agree with. At the end of the day, we can't sit here forever and well, we're not sitting inside anymore. We can go out, but we shouldn't sit there forever and not get back to a normal, because unfortunately, and as bad as it is to say, the world, we cannot sit here and shit ourselves forever, unfortunately, which is what some people want in the world, and I think they've got, I wouldn't say they've got a fair point, because I really don't think they do, but there are some people out there that think, staying indoors is the best thing, and if they want to do that, they can shit themselves and stay indoors all day, but I'm not going to go on with it too much, because we could sit here and talk about it all day, but I think we've talked about it too much. There's a chance here for Lukaku, and that is that. And Romelu Lukaku, even on a game where there's not really been much going on, bags a second goal in the match, and as the Russian defence is cracked wide open, there was only one man who was going to bang in this game today, and it's Romelu Lukaku, who gets his second of the match. And Zenit St. Petersburg, the stadium of St. Petersburg, is sent into silence. And it's one long ball, and it's a brilliant pass in the end. And Romelu Lukaku completely rips open the Russian defence, and he's one-on-one with the keeper. It's a simple finish. And that perfectly sums up what has been a pretty dismal performance tonight for Russia. And they have been cracked wide open. And Romelu Lukaku gets his second of the game. He's my captain on the on the Euros. Get in there, my son. And that is a all-important 3 points on the board for Roberto Martinez and his side. And I think that better reflects how this game has panned out, as there are quite a lot of Russian fans sauntering their way out of the stadium, which I think is completely understandable, because they have been absolutely dreadful in this game. And at least we got a goal at the end now as we go into the final minute of the 90. I don't think we'll get a great deal of additional time added on, but as I said, if you have enjoyed the stream and you are new, don't forget to leave a like and a subscription. We have got more content to come tomorrow. Of course, we have got the England game tomorrow, which is going to be very interesting indeed to see whether or not we do go and win against Croatia. I hope that we do. And fingers crossed we are going to be able to get ourselves a victory. But we'll have to find out, as there is a call here maybe for a penalty for Russia. And it's a Diedrich Beata, and that'll be a free kick, not a penalty. But they are checking it just in case, and it will be giving us a free kick at the edge of the box, which is what's been given. And just maybe a chance here for Russia to get a consolation goal at best, and take away the clean sheet for Courtois, which would probably disappoint a fair few people in terms of their Euro 2020 fantasy football teams. But Louis said, can't wait for tomorrow. Grealish, Foden, Sancho, Kane, back 4, 080 Southgate. Sterling Phillips, back 5 will just be boring. You fucking know it. Back 5 with 2 holding midfielders. I can't wait to be bored to death and watch Croatia win 4-1. Nah, honestly, I'm gonna enjoy tomorrow. I know as an England fan it'd be disappointing, but I also like Croatia. I think they're a very good side. I've got a friend as well that is a Croatian supporter, so I think she'll be absolutely buzzing tomorrow. But we've got a free kick here, which is taken by Moranchuk, and well, that was fucking shite. That pretty much sums up the game, doesn't it? Overall, as well over the crossbar, out of play for a goal kick, and any hopes of a consolation goal for Russia tonight have been well and truly squashed as we enter the final 60 seconds of the game before we do end the match. Almost been a very good result tonight for Belgium. You know, jokes aside, we've sat here and we've said that this game's been pretty poor, but Belgium did exactly what they needed to do in the first half, and they got themselves the all-important goal, and fair play to them. I think they played very, very well in the game, and they didn't have to push themselves. They didn't have to go out there and really use all their energy up. They've been able to rest players like Carrasco and players like that, and Mertens as well. So I think for Roberto Martinez, this is the perfect way to start the tournament. And very similar to Turkey, they'll be really, really happy with that. And now they get a few days rest before they go on and play Denmark in a few days' time, as there is a ball off the long for Lukaku. Ball's not convincingly cleared away. And it will be Safin who boots it up the pitch. And Lukaku, unfortunately, not going to have a chance for the match ball unless there's one more opportunity. But the Zenit St. Petersburg Stadium slowly empties out. As Louis says, has Insigne captain, 16 point, and not too bad, but had Ericsson and Castanis probably have to sub them out. Yeah, I know his eye socket's been bust, hasn't it? As the referee blows the full-time whistle and ends the pin early for Russia on a game which, of course, has been overmarred by everything that happened today with Christian Eriksen. But look, these guys played out a brilliant, brilliant match, Belgium. A convincing 3-0 win on the night against a Russian side that never really showed up on the day. It all started off with Romelu Lukaku getting the first goal after a mistake at the back from the Russian defence. The second goal came from substitute Thomas Meunier, who'd only been on the pitch for about 5 to 10 minutes. He got himself a very, very comfortable goal. And then the last goal of the game did come from Romelu Lukaku, which was a very comfortable finish indeed. And it was a shame tonight for Russia, because I think they could have done so much better in this game. They'll be really disappointed with how they've played. But as for Belgium, well, they'll be absolutely buzzing at the fact that they've been able to go out there and get themselves a very, very comfortable victory indeed. And that, of course, does bring an end to today's action. We're all done in terms of today's fixtures, which basically means, what do we got tomorrow? This is how it's looking for tomorrow. England up against Croatia. You do not want to miss it. Going to be an absolute belter. You can join myself, Kieran L, and Rowan live for that game about 10 minutes before kickoff. And then we'll have Austria up against North Macedonia. KL's going to be covering that game from about 5 to 10 minutes before kickoff. And then the only game we won't be covering tomorrow night is Netherlands-Ukraine. Unless any of the other lads want to cover it, then they're more than free to. But that'll be the only game not covered on the day. That game, however, is at 8 PM UK time, so well worth checking that out. Should be an absolute belter of a fixture, that one, indeed. If you are new to stream as well, don't forget to leave a like and a subscription. We are pushing towards 2,300 subscribers on the channel. If you want to check out our social media, as always, our Twitter is @the_top corner, and our Instagram is _sportscorner_. Highly do recommend going and checking those out. If you want to see when we go live, as well as checking out the lineups for each of the matches over Euro 2020. And as I said, we've got more football coming up over the weekend as well. It's not just those fixtures we've got. Of course, we just watched Belgium versus Russia. 3-0 win for Belgium. Very, very good result indeed for the Belgians tonight. Tomorrow, you can join us about 10 minutes before kickoff. England-Croatia will be doing all the build-up to that game, as well as the rest of the day's matches. And then we have Austria versus North Macedonia. You can join KL for that one from 5 to 5. Should be a very exciting game indeed. And then the rest of the week sees Scotland against Czech Republic. That's on Monday from 1:55. You can join Kieran D for that game. Should be a brilliant one in Group D. And then the final game on Monday night sees Spain against Sweden. We'll be talking through all of the rest of the matches from that previous day's action. We'll be live from about 10 to 8 for all of the action there. Should be a brilliant, brilliant game indeed. But as for now, I want to end off and say that I think today is a real eye-opener for any fans of football to what was a very surprising day. I don't think we will ever see anything like that again in front of our own eyes on TV. And as Louis said in the chat, I think today makes us realise that you have to live life to its fullest, because it can go away quicker than you think. And for what we saw today, of course, our thoughts and prayers. Hopefully, Eriksen continues his recovery and he is eventually able to get himself back onto the pitch again. But today was a real eye-opener to life, and the fact that you have to live life to the fullest and enjoy every second that you've got, and you know, appreciate everybody in life, whether it be family, whether it be friends, whether it be your loved ones, and appreciate every second you've got with them, because moments like that just make you realise how short and how special life is. But apart from that, a big win tonight for Belgium against Russia. We will be back tomorrow at 2 PM UK time. A little bit earlier before that, of course, for England against Croatia. Will it be coming home? I don't think it will, but let's not be pessimistic even. We'll be optimistic for that game. But as for now, have a fantastic morning, evening, or afternoon, wherever you are, and we'll see you tomorrow. It's coming home!